For casual outings, I love matching up my jeans and denim dresses with a denim handbag. So I felt I was in need of one, and I decided to make this embroidered denim handbag, and I'm going to be carrying you along on how I made it. So if this is what you're interested in, then subscribe, lovely, and don't go anywhere. Let's do this together. Hey lovelies, this is Annie with Annie Marie. If you're new here, you're welcome. Do well to subscribe to our channel, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. So here we have everything that we need for making our denim bag, and here we have 2 pieces of denim fabric, and of course with 2 pieces of Pelon Fusible Temolam TP971F and 3 pieces of cotton fabrics that I'll be using as my inner lining, and of course 2 pieces of Pelon 809 Deco Bond. All right, now I also have my label, all right, already embroidered, and I have the inner lining. This is going to be the base and the side with the Deco Bond, my denim, which is also going to be on the side and the base with the Fusible Temolam, and then I have the strap one with the 809 Deco Bond, and my zippers. This zipper is going to be 2 for the front and for the main body of the bag. So every measurement is in the description, okay? So get it ready and walk along with me. Let's go over and start fusing these interfacings to our fabric. Here on the ironing board, I'm using my steam iron, but I'm not really using the steam function. I did an unboxing and review video for this steam iron. If it's something you would love to have, then you go and watch the video. It's really beautiful. And one thing with denim fabrics is you need to wash it, because it's going to shrink on you. And this particular one I'm using stretches to one direction, actually 2, but it's stretchier on one part, so you need to wash it. Okay, wash and iron before you start fusing it to this Pelon. If not, you're going to lose some inches. Like I lost ½ inch, all right, but I was mindful of it. So you need to work with it, and when you're pressing it on, you leave it on your fabric for like 10 to 15 seconds, okay, before you move to another area. All right, so this is me ironing on my Deco Bond on my cotton fabric, okay, and I'm not going to be trimming off the excess for now until I'm done fusing them together. Then I'll cut off the excesses. Okay, so now I'm going to start with the strap, and because I'm going to start sewing with the strap, I'm just trying to glue the Deco Bond on my strap because it's going to be the hand, and after fusing it on, I'm going to trim out this excess and start sewing it. Okay, so be mindful of this. Denim stretches, okay, so wash it please before getting to this stage. All right, now I'm going to start folding this to make my strap. Now if you've watched or know how to create bias binding, double fold bias, you will know exactly how to do this. I'm going to fold it this first time, and I'm going to iron it, and once I'm through, I'm going to still open it and fold it again. Okay, so it's going to be double fold, and I'm going to sew on it. So now let me remove these pins and start folding it inward. So this side is going to go in to meet the middle line, and the other side will also be folded in, and I'm going to iron it. All right, my strap is going to be like 1 inch. It's not going to be more than that. I just want it to be small, and I want it to be the same size as my zipper, just small, because this bag is actually a small bag as you saw it. So I just need it to be small and cute. Okay, so I'm going to start ironing it down, and once I'm done, I'm going to go over to the sewing machine to sew along the edges, but I need to iron it down because I need it to stay. You know, I'm using Deco Bond inside it because it needs to be firm. All right, and this bag is something I'm going to be using to put my phone, wallet, and stuff like that. It's really going to be a stable bag. Okay, it's going to carry tons of things, and it's going to be really comfortable. So now that I'm done, I'll just go along and stitch it with 1/4 inch seam allowance. All right, so let's go over to the sewing machine and do this. So here on the sewing machine, I'm going to be using my 1/4 inch presser foot, okay, because I'm going to be using 1/4 inch seam allowance all through the sewing of this bag. Okay, so if you have a 1/4 inch seam presser foot, you can use it, but if you know how to eyeball it or your needle plate has the measurement on it, go on. All right, so I'm going to be maintaining that 1/4 inch and sew down the strap. Okay, now when I get to the end, I'm going to make sure I leave my needle in, and I'm going to raise my presser foot, turn it, and continue my sewing. I'm going to sew it front and backwards for some time just to secure the edge and make sure that it's going to stay without fraying, and then I'll just continue sewing along. Okay, if you've watched my other videos, I've talked so much about this that if you want to do continuous stitching, you don't have to just end your stitch and start all over again. All you have to do is to leave your needle in the fabric, raise your presser foot, swing it over, and just continue sewing. Okay, so I've gotten to the end. I'm going to make sure that I backstitch here, back and forth, to make sure that the edge is well sewn, and we're done sewing our handle. Okay, and you can see it's looking good. Now, another thing I want to point out in this video is I'm using a contrasting thread. Now, because I'm using this for myself, I didn't really bother with the thread color combination, but if you're going to be sewing this for sale or you're giving to someone, please use the right color of thread. Okay, so I'm going to be sewing the base and the side, and this is the cotton fabric is going to be the inner part, and I'm going to be sewing it with the denim. So what you're seeing right here, the denim is under with the fusible pellon and my cotton with the deco bond. Okay, like 4 layers. That's exactly what I'm sewing right now. So when I'm done sewing it, I will show you what I mean. So I'll do the same technique, leave my needle in the fabric, swing it over, and continue sewing, maintaining my 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now you can actually sew yours with 1/2 inch seam allowance. It all depends on you, but I'm going to be maintaining this particular seam allowance, and while we go on, I will tell you why I maintained my 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, so I'm sewing through the 4 layers now. This is going to be the side and the base of this bag, so you can see the denim, right? So I'm not going to be doing the how do you put it, throwing in the inner lining. No, everything is going to be sewn together. Okay, so I'm going to keep this aside now, and I'll sew the one side of the bag. Now this also has the denim. This is 4 layers. All right, the denim with the interfacings and the cotton fabric, and I'm going to be maintaining my 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'm going to sew along this. I'll try to speed up the process, and I'm through sewing this. Now this particular part is the back of the bag. All right, this is the back of the bag. It's 2 pieces. Okay, we have the front and we have the back, the same size, the same measurement, but I'm not going to be sewing this front together. You know why? Because we're going to be embroidering on this. Okay, remember we have our label, and this is an embroidered bag. Okay, so we're going to leave it until we're done with the whole adding of the label and the embroidery right here, and then we'll cover it up with the inner lining and stitch everything together. So I'm going to go ahead and sew on this label, and of course add the embroidery design. All right, so let's do that. And while on it, we're going to use the back to cut out the shape of the bag. So here is the part that we're going to be using as the back, and we're going to fold it widthwise to get the center of this side. Okay, so this is thick. Remember, we have interfacings and some fabrics. It's 4 layers of, you know, combination of interfacing and fabric. So I'm going to be using my wonder clip to hold it together. All right, so we're going to fold it like this because we are looking for the center of this. I will try to use the clip to hold it right here, then use my hand to, you know, press it down to make sure that the center shows. Okay, now all I'm going to do now is to use a fabric chalk of contrasting color. I'm using blue to get some measurements. Now I'm going to be measuring 2 inches towards the center of the fabric. Okay, from the edge towards the middle. Now I'm going to use my chalk to mark that 2 inches. Okay, and then I'm also going to use my tape, turn it the other way, and mark the 2 inches. I'm going to raise it up. I'm going to mark the 2 inches towards the center of the bag, and then I'll mark that spot. Okay, I'm going to mark it. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to turn it this way and mark 5.5 inches. Now it can be 5 inches, it can be 4.5 inches, depending on how you want your bag to be. All I'm trying to do is to get the curve of the bag and also the base of the bag. So I can do it 5 inches, I can do 5.5, and you can also, vary the measurement, but I'm going to be doing 5.5 in this case. Okay, I'm going to mark my 5.5 inches, and once I get it, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to mark it upwards. Okay, I'm going to do a stroke so that I will get the line that I'm connecting. Here it is. Now I'm going to use my ruler to connect that 2-inch spot down to that place. This is the side of the bag. Okay, so I'm going to use my ruler to mark it now down to the edge. Okay, from that point to this point. Okay, so I'm going to use my chalk to connect it, and once I'm done connecting it, it's time to get the curve. Remember, this is the side of the bag. Okay, so I've gotten my side now and I need to get my curve. So I'm going to be measuring 1 inch. Okay, 1 inch. I'll mark my 1 inch where it gets, and I'm going to mark the same 1 inch towards the 5.5. Okay, where I marked my 5.5 inch. Yeah, I'm going to use freehand to mark the curve. This is the base of my bag. Okay, the curve that comes to the base. Now if you want this deeper, you can increase it to 1.5 or to 2 inches, but I don't want the base to be that curved. And the next thing is for me to use my scissors to cut it out. This is 8 layers of interfacing some fabric, so I'm really taking my time and I don't want to cut my curve. So I'm almost done with the cutting, and I'm just trying to smooth out this particular curve, and I'm going to be removing my wonder clips, and our bag is good to go. This is the back, and we have gotten the shape of the bag. Okay, now I'm going to be using this to cut out the front part. Okay, when I'm done embroidering and adding the label. Okay, now for the front part of the bag, I'm going to be leaving 2.5 inches towards the middle of the bag, and I'm going to mark a line. All right, now this line is where I'm going to be fixing the front zipper. You can see I'm done with adding the label and of course the embroidery design right in front of the bag. Okay, you can see the measurement. It depends on what you want. Okay, it can be 3 inches for you, it can be 2 inches for it, just depends on you. So I'm going to be cutting open that place, but that will be after I've added my lining, sewn it together, and it's one part. You can see now. Okay, so I'm going to sew round this bag and make it one piece. Okay, so I'm going to be taking my time to sew along the curves, and then of course I'm going to trim off the excess. Now that I'm done trimming off the excess, it's time to sew along the edges, maintaining my 1/4 inch seam allowance, because when I'm joining every piece of the bag together, I need to stitch on my former stitches. You will understand what I'm saying very soon. Okay, so I'm going to sew along, making sure that I maintain my 1/4 inch seam and being mindful of my curves. And now that I'm done, it looks exactly like the back part of the bag. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to do now is to cut out the place we're going to be adding our zippers. So I have the zipper now, and I'm going to be attaching it to the bag. Now you need to measure out your zipper to be 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch longer than the flap. Okay, this is to ensure that when you're sewing with your 1/4 inch seam allowance, it's going to get hold of it and the zipper is going to be attached properly, but anything more than ½ inch longer than the zipper flap is not really going to make sense. All right, ordinarily it should be a black or green zipper, but I used white because that's what I had available. Now when we're done, we're going to be attaching our zipper. Okay, I got it clipped and held together with my wonder clip, and I'm sewing down with my zipper presser foot. This is very important. I can't overemphasize on this. Okay, it makes it to be very close to the teeth, and of course we're going to top stitch. For every time we're going to be attaching our zipper to the part of the bag, we'll top stitch to make it lay flat and beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to be attaching the other part, which is the flap. This other flap is where I'm also going to be attaching the other zipper. Remember, we're adding two zippers, the front pocket zipper and the main body of the bag. Okay, the zipper that will give us access to the main body of the bag. All right, so now I'm going to be sewing in the other cotton fabric, which is part of the pocket, because I'm done attaching the front zipper. This is the lining right here. Okay, so this is the pocket, the front pocket. So I'm going to be sewing around it now to attach it, then I'll cut off the excess. Okay, I'm going to be maintaining my 1/4 inch seam allowance to do this. Now remember, I wasn't cutting off my excesses when I was using my 1/4 inch seam allowance. This is where it comes to play. I'm going to be sewing exactly directly on top of my 1/4 inch seam. I'm going to be sewing exactly on it, and I'm going to cut off the excess. All right, so you won't see the new stitches. All you will see is just one stitch all around it. You can see what I mean. So that's the essence of maintaining the seam allowance. Now we have our pocket. When we open the zipper, we can drop in anything. All right, so now that we're through with this, the next thing to do is to attach the zipper. All right, the zipper that will give us access to the main bag. All right, so in my usual way, I'm going to be using my wonder clips to hold the layers together. Remember, we're sewing 8 layers, 4 layers of materials here, so you really need to hold them together. All right, and now I'm going to be using my zipper foot to complete this process, making sure that I sew close to the teeth as possible, because you don't really want to see this other part of the zipper coming out on your bag. It makes it look tacky, you know, like you didn't sew it properly. And of course, we're going to top stitch. You really make sure that you top stitch, all right, to make it lay flat. Now we're going to be adding the back of the bag. All right, so we're going to be joining 2 of them together. Of course, I'm going to still use my wonder clip to hold the layers. You know how many layers we're sewing here, right? And then I'm going to stitch around it, making it look beautiful. Okay, so when I'm done, you will see that our front and back is now attached, and I'll still top stitch it. And now it's time to add the handle. Okay, we're going to attach our handle. Okay, this strip right here is going to be attached close to the zipper. Remember, I said it's going to be the same size as the zipper because this bag is small and I don't want the straps to be very big. Okay, so we're going to make sure that it's well centered, is well aligned with the zipper, and I'm going to be sewing on it. All right, make sure that I sew back and forth severally to make it tight and held down properly. So now that we're done attaching our handle, it's time to attach the side and the base fabric. Okay, and if I'm adding it now, you will notice that it is the exact measurement as the flaps. Okay, this is one of the reasons you need to maintain your measurement and your seam allowance. Now here comes another place where not cutting off the excess means the word. Okay, I'm going to still use that 1/4 inch to sew onto this, and when we pin this together later, I am going to be sewing exactly on my former stitches, which is the 1/4 inch seam. All right, so everything is still going to be on that one line. You see why I'm not cutting off my excess? I'm going to be doing this after I am done sewing everything. Okay, so I'm going to be maintaining my 1/4 inch seam allowance to attach this side and the base, and you can see it's aligned properly with this. This will also make the handle, the strap, to lay flat. Now that the base and the sides are attached, I'm going to be pinning round this and attaching the front and the back, making sure that the straps are inside. I'm going to be using my wonder clip to pin the edges together. Now I'm going to start sewing one side at a time. It can be the front part or the back part, and I'm going to be maintaining my 1/4 inch seam allowance. All right, so I'm going to be starting with one side. I won't pin the other side. Okay, so I'm going to pin it with my wonder clips now and proceed to sewing. Here comes the culmination of our work. Sewing this part is I don't want to say it's difficult, but it is tasking because you're sewing 8 layers, right? And you need to sew very carefully and sew on top of the former stitches. Remember, it's 1/4 inch and I'm sewing directly on the old stitches. Now when I get to the corner, you will notice what I'm doing. I am not stretching it. I am actually spreading out the fabric because I don't want a situation where I turn this inside out and my corners will be wrinkled. Okay, it's going to be as if I sewed ruffles there. No, you can see I'm spreading out the fabric, making sure that it lays flat as I'm sewing the corners, so that by the time I turn it inside out, it's going to be fluid. It's going to look beautiful, okay, and well sewn together. So I'm taking my time here because 1, I'm sewing through thick layers, and 2, it just needs to be on top of the old stitches. If not, I'm using contrasting threads. Is going to show on the other side. Okay, so I don't want it to show on the other side, and this is the more reason you should use the same color of thread as your fabric, so that when you mess up anytime, it's not really going to be obvious. Okay, so I'm really trying my best here to make sure that my corners look good. Okay, corners, seriously, when you mess up around your corners, it can be very obvious and I don't really like it. Okay, so I'm really trying my best to do my corners right, and when I get to the end, of course, I'm going to backstitch several times to secure my stitch. Now when we're done sewing this side, we're going to pin the other side and sew round it also. And there is something you don't have to forget. When I'm done with this part and I want to sew the other side, I will leave my zipper open just a little bit. It's not going to be completely open, because if it's completely open, it's really going to pose some kind of difficulty with me sewing the other side. So I'm going to kind of leave it a little bit open so that I will be able to open up the zipper and turn it inside out when I am through sewing. All right, now another thing is you can cut your lining fabric on the bias. Okay, make some bias strip and cover this 1/4 inch seam allowance instead of trimming it off, so that the inside is going to look good. Now I didn't do it here. Why? Because this is my personal bag. I mean, nobody's going to see the inside of my bag. It's mine. It's only me that can see it. But if I'm sewing this to sell, I will definitely cover up the seam. I won't really advise trimming it out. Okay, by the time you add the bias over that 1/4 inch seam, it's really going to look beautiful. Okay, it will be like a design inside the bag. All right, because when you trim it up, you won't really see where you're going to attach your bias binding. It will be difficult to sew over, right? So that's exactly what I'm supposed to do here. But like I said, it's my personal handbag, so I'm not doing the bias strip. The inside of the bag needs to look neat, just the way the outside of the bag should be. Okay, so you can see the handle was well inside the bag. All right, and I'm going to be pinning this front side, and I won't forget to leave that zipper open just a little bit so that I'll be able to turn it inside out. Okay, so that is exactly what I'm going to do now, and then we're good to go. Okay, all right. Okay, so this is the part that is open now, that will aid me to open the zipper and turn it inside out, and we're done. We are through. Okay, I'm going to try to cut off the excess, just cut the seam allowance. Now I'm free to do that now, and then I'm going to turn this bag inside out and we'll see our creation. This bag is cute, it's small, and I really love it. Like I said, I love denim bags. I love denim tote bags, everything denim. Okay, I don't know, I just have a thing for denim. So let's have a reveal of our project. Yay! My oh my, this is a beautiful creation. This is the front pocket where I can slide in anything that I want to store in here. I have the main body of the bag where my wallet, my phone, and so much more can be stored in. And this beautiful embroidered denim bag is giving. Okay, I only wish I had a green, yellow, or black zipper to attach to it. Really, I think I'll be making this for sale. I mean, come on, look at the back, look at the front. It's really beautiful. What do you think, lovely? It's giving. So there you have it, my lovely. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, share your thoughts at the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao.